Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there.
So we are looking at an artistic representation of the goddess Aset, who is known to most of the world as Isis.
Absolutely, and she's a very powerful goddess. She's very kind of no nonsense. She's almost like a I don't want to say tough love mom, but when she loves you with meaning and purpose, and she has something for you. She's a very powerful healer.
She is, and a protector, most definitely. And, she has, without a doubt, protected us for a long time, and many miracles, so to speak, that times when things could have been really bad and somehow they weren't bad, it was her protection that protected Cindy and myself.
Absolutely, and she'll protect you too.
Yeah, and this is obviously an ancient goddess. She of 10,000 names, according to some traditions. And we wanted to share an invitation for you guys. And she came through, well, I guess it was in the early morning hours last night, along with the 5 others that are our core group of guides. It really could be a little bit more expansive than that. There's always others that come and go. But there are 6 of these goddess energies, so to speak, divine feminine energies, that are with us every single day, that we communicate with almost every single day through our channeling, as well as in meditation and the use of mantras, which are so powerful. And we've shared those with you. Aset is one of those. And she's actually a 6th density being. So when we're talking about our ascension and looking towards becoming a 5th density being, she's actually up at that 6th density. So she is part of a collective. And a collective is, in her case, a group of beings that ascended where she was living, her planet, did go through an ascension, and they ascended up as a unit. Not all of them ascended. And this is part of the case with the Earth. Not all will ascend in this period.
Right. I mean, and that's up to us. It's our choice if we wish to ascend or not. What do we wish to hold on to? What do we wish to let go of? That all determines how you're going to ascend and where you're going to ascend. Ultimately, it's all our option.
Yes, and there's certain things we should try to avoid if we are going to ascend. As we said in previous videos, if this power structure was not on the planet, doing everything it could to keep it from ascending, the vast majority of people would ascend. The vast majority of people would ascend in this time frame. Now, because of everything that's going on, it more than likely won't be the majority that ascend, but there still is that opportunity for everyone. And so she offers her help. And she said to reach out to her, just light a candle at daybreak and just reach out to her. It's just really that simple.
Yes, if you want her blessings, she said to light the candle with the intent at sunrise, and she will be there. So you just need to be very deliberate about your moves for her.
Yeah, some have said that she is actually was probably the most, I want to say worshipped, because that's the terminology that we'll use. But you could say the most reached out to divine feminine energy at that time period of, say, when Egypt was rising to its peak and the Roman Empire was there. When we think to things like, time frames like Cleopatra and Mark Antony and Caesar, and when the library at Alexandria was still up, so much of the world reached out to her on a daily basis. And again, the benevolent ones, you got to reach out to them because they won't interfere in your life. Now, there are times when they might act a little bit if you've had past life experiences with them. So, like in the case of Cindy and myself, we've both been basically working with her for lifetimes, many lifetimes. And Cindy really she goes back as far back as you can get when it comes to Aset.
She's a very beautiful being. I can't get past how much of a true healer she is, and she's such a divine alchemist. There's just so many things that she has to offer. She's very magical, very beautiful, very powerful, and this in essence is in every divine feminine here on the planet.
Absolutely. And so again, it's who you resonate with. And so we got messages like we've not gotten before. As far as that sense of urgency from them, that, they're really asking anybody that wants their help, they are right here. You just have to ask, and they will help you. And I've shared with you guys before, and for those of you that have been with me since the beginning, in 2017, that group that begins with I, ends with and I reached out to me, wanting to recruit me for them, which I declined, and then it was either 1 or 2 days later. 2 days later, a car went right through this wrought iron fence across the street from the house that I was living in, which was right next to a church. It did donuts, and then it headed straight towards me at full speed, heading right towards my office. And at that speed, it would have gone right through the window and probably would have sent me flying. But it was bizarre because it's like it hit an invisible barrier. And it left its bumper in the driveway, and it took out neighbors' mailboxes, small trees, signs. He went around the block and then, dumped the car and ran off on foot. It was totally bizarre. But the most amazing thing was the fact that it just seemed like it hit an invisible barrier and went bouncing. It just totally diverted. It literally went between my fence and my mailbox, which were only about maybe 8 feet apart. And, the car itself is probably 7 feet wide. Somehow it didn't touch either, but it left its bumper in the driveway. And then we got confirmation that it was actually Aset that had sent an angel to protect, and the angel blocked it.
And she can do these things. She can do these things as long as you're accepting of her in your life.
Exactly. And this is where, again, a lot of people, when they get into this fundamentalist mindset, they somehow can't see that, a being like Isis, Aset, has the ability or power to ask an angel to go help somebody. And just how benevolent they are, because they are totally benevolent beings that want to see us climb up into the higher densities and escape this wheel that we find ourselves on here in this system, which is so really horrendously low vibrational. So if you are so inclined, please do reach out to Aset, and she will help you. And many might be familiar with the love story of Osiris and Isis, and Aser and Aset is the native terms to Egypt for them. But again, these beings are beings that really their home planet is elsewhere.
Right. It's not here, but they do come here because they like to help humans in the golden age, specifically in the golden age, help them reach their highest potentials.
And this is something I'm just going to refresh on again, because we don't always cover it exactly in each age. When you see the time that the Anunnaki gods, quote unquote, which that's not a good term to use for them at all, the Anunnaki beings, are here amongst us, it's because we're in fourth density. Like right now, when we sleep, we're in fourth density. When we're awake, we're in third density. Though we're basically almost totally in fourth density. We're getting closer to that point. We had shared in the last video, talking about the real Satan and the black goo, how the Ajiji who rebelled against the Anunnaki, they're third density. At some point in time, as the planet rises up and we all move into fourth density, it's going to be possible to see the return of the Anunnaki. And that is in possibility for a future timeline when you can see them as flesh and blood, as you and I, or the Ajiji would appear to us right now. When we're in fifth density, then we can see beings, like Aset, like so many others that will appear to us to be more flesh and blood. Again, it's all relative to the vibrational frequency. So when we are in fifth density, then there are so many of these benevolent beings that are able to be with us because they're at a much higher plane than we have been. We've been, down in the dungeon, so to speak. We've been down at the lowest rungs of the ladder. They're up at more towards the top of the ladder. As we climb back up, we're getting more towards them. Their power, their influence, their effects on us are going to keep expanding and growing. As the lower vibrational frequency entities, their power is going to wane as we leave them in the dust. Those of us that don't succumb to the black goo and assimilation into that AI satanic Borg, so to speak.
Right.
So, their hearts are bleeding for us here on Earth. They want to help us so much. They do care for us like we are their children.
They do. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to understand because of their conditioning, because of what they were taught growing up. But it's time to really do that. Just let go of all those things that have been harnessing you. Let go of those things that have held you down and let your energy explore. Let it become open to these other energies to help you grow.
When we see the representations of Isis and Horus, and in so many ways, Horus is us. Horus is us. We ultimately will, quote unquote, sort of inherit the kingdom, so to speak, as we move up in vibration. Inherit, the ability to go up into that fifth density and, to literally live in a setting that would be much more like heaven on earth. As we see depictions of Mary and Yeshua. And we also see Isis, Aset, and Horus. Again, you note the halos. Here they're saying how they're really the sun disk. But again, it's the emanation of that golden light. The golden light we see around the sun, right? And when we are able to look at the auras, the eminence coming off the crown chakra of these beings that are enlightened, it's like the light of the sun itself.
It's beautiful. Yep.
When I had asked about, because Yeshua, last time we were reaching out to Yeshua, at first he was busy, and it's almost like, well, I've never heard him be busy before, but then he did come through, of course. But because we look at these different densities, and time itself doesn't operate on these densities, which is obviously really tough for us to grasp, that whole concept. But the way he equated it too was like, you see the rays. How could he answer so many different people's questions and prayers? He equated it to the light of the sun. How many rays are coming off the light of the sun at any one time, going in all these different directions? Well, it's the same thing with these beings, and their consciousness. They're able to work and help with so many more people than one at a time, because time really is an illusion on the higher densities. So again, these are divine mothers. These are divine mothers, that mothering, that nurturing energy, which is so sorely missed from this world.
It is. It's really sad.
So I got a couple links for you, and this one right here, who is Aset and who is Isis. And this one is basically has this version of a hymn to Isis that was traditionally done in the morning. And the words are both in Egyptian here and up above it in English, so you can understand what it is saying. And basically, this is the prayer of awakening. So when you would wake up in the morning, you would start off by light a candle in Aset's, honor, and then basically you could say this, which invites her to work in your life, and she can be very, very powerful and very, very protective. As what mother is not protective of their little ones?
Right. That's very true. So if you feel you're in need of some protection, of some enlightenment, do this.
Absolutely. And so I'll go through this once, just so you guys could get a sound for it. And it's Nehes, 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 Nehezem Hotep, Nehezem Nefru, Nebet Hotepet, Weben Imhotep, Weben Im Nefru, Nuhert Enang Neferim Pet, Pet Imhotep, Ta Imhotep, Nuhert Set Nut Set Geb Meret Oser, Nuhert Asha Reinu, Anehrak, Anevra, Tu, Tu, Nevet Aset. And so that is something that could be recited just one time in the morning, and it'll draw her energies in to work with you. I'll do this one. Now, most mantras, I'll go through hundreds of repetitions. This one's a little bit longer, so don't usually do hundreds of repetitions, but I'll feel her energy coming around and the vibration and the frequency, and then I actually am able to see the energies that let me know that she's there. And of course, by that time, Cindy's usually talking to her out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So just wanted to share this with you guys. We're going to be doing the same thing with Kuan Yin, who asked to be put that open invitation out there, and Kuan Yin is an amazing, compassionate entity of pure love and compassion, as well as both Marys, Mary Magdalene and also Mother Mary. And we will keep sharing with you guys. Hopefully you will find this helpful. And, I wouldn't hesitate for a second. I know many people have so much indoctrination that they're only used to reaching out to fatherly energies. But this world is so far out of balance, and it's exactly because of that. It's because we've cut the divine mother out of everything on this planet. What does it lead to? Nonstop war, nonstop fighting, lack of compassion, a lack of love.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. But hopefully we can bring balance back.
Absolutely. So as always, guys, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.